I am very deeply honored and emotionally moved by this honor. When Bill McMenemy called me several months ago and suggested that I was being considered for this honor, I really balked at it. I said, Bill, that is ridiculous. There's just no way. And he kept after me, and then I got a letter from Jonathan Lucas telling me that I was to be the recipient of this year's award. Well, I called Jonathan, and we had coffee, and I explained to him my hesitancy. And he said, Steve, you have been voted for this award, and we want you to take it. And needless to say, I accept this award, but what I realized then is what I realize now. This is not about me. It is about how my life has been influenced by my parents, by the Columbus Academy, and by the dear friend that I have met through the Academy and later on. So once again, I will stand here, but everybody else is standing here with me that has had a part of my life. So it's really not, it's about the who and what circumstances have affected me. I'll start with my parents, Gay and Steve Brown. My mom was a graduate of CSG in 1922. She graduated from OSU in 1927. And think about that, that's 90 years ago of going to wonderful schools and graduating. My dad, on the other hand, graduated from North High School and started work in 1924. My brother, Gib Brown, graduated with Todd Stowe in 1950. My parents, coming from very different educational backgrounds, felt very strongly that education was the key for their children. Therefore, the Columbus Academy was the only choice. It was tough times sending me financially and my brother there, but somehow they did it. And to this day, I am very, very thankful for that. I remember back them always being there to support me. In the first grade, they were in the audience when I was a lion tamer, and another classmate of mine, David Chilcote. David Chilcote was the lion. They were there in the swimming pool with all the chlorine. They were there at the football fields and in the baseball fields. And every time something happened at Academy, they were there to support me, but not only me, but every one of the people at the Academy. My mom was a pretty special person. Nancy has heard me talk about her lately. She died in 1977. I think she would have been a tremendous teacher. She had the patience. She had so much patience. And it was truly something that I remember, and I try to take today to have as much patience as I can. In 1950, there were 19 words that we were given, which at that time, in 1950, were always adverbs. I presume they are always adverbs today. Now, some of you are starting to snicker right now, but I will repeat these words. And she sat me down and said, Stevie, we're going to make some fun out of this. So here are the words. Now listen to me, and afterwards, if anybody wants to discuss them, I will do that. They are, there, then, now, how. Too very often, so not always. Almost never, ever, quite seldom here, still also sometimes. Those were adverbs in 1950, and I presume they are today. They are today. I learned a lot from my dad, and it's really about building blocks and relationships. I've always tried in business to look out not for my interest, but for my customer's interest. And sometimes that may not be to my interest, but we find out by doing that, we become friends, and we accomplish what we want to do, and that's being partners as far as business is concerned. I've taken that theory and that motivation in my little business. This is starting our 43rd year. We've gone through many changes over that year. The most recent, we started in competitive products to Xerox. Today, we are selling office products, and we have a furniture showroom, which is over in Grandview, which Nancy Mahalski really heads up that part of it. But it has energized me. I love to work, and I'm learning something every day. I think that's, to me, to continue to learn is extremely important. The second question of what influenced me in my earlier years. And if you weren't paying a lot of attention, but I know you're just glued to this, you know the Columbus Academy. The Columbus Academy did so much for me. When I think back to my very first grade, there were 8 little first graders that were there that became lifers. They were Dick Evans, Dick's here, I think, Dick Weingartner, Dave Choco, Buddy Byers, Tony Hirsch, Charlie Odie, Bill Case, and myself. These and other great friends are the boys that we played pranks on each other. We won state championships together, and we have become and stayed very, very close friends. In the 8th grade, I had known him, but I didn't know him well, somebody that transferred from Bexley. His name is Bill McMenamin. What did I learn from Bill? I have been fortunate to recognize with Bill, he is the most positive person I have ever met. I think those of you that know Bill would agree. He is positive 24/7. He has had deep challenges in his life, but he always is looking out and being positive. And for that, Bill, thank you very, very much. I try to emulate you, but nobody can emulate Bill. He is one of a kind. Phil Carlin, who was a recipient of this award, Phil came over from Bexley also. And Phil was one of the most driven people I have ever met. To me, Phil always outworked everyone around him, be that on the athletic field, in the classroom, or in the business world. And there was Dick Evans, a lifer, who is and always has been the kindest, one of the smartest gentlemen I have ever known, and I've had so many people say Dick Evans is the kindest, nicest person they know, and that is truth. The last two, and in some cases maybe the most important, were the teachers at Academy. To many of you, and this was mentioned earlier, some of these teachers, you have to go to the old caravels to look at them. But there was Grace De Leon, who was head of the middle school, lower school, excuse me, in the 40s and 50s. There was Ken Evans, Dick's dad, who taught mythology and Latin. There was Dana Whiting, mathematics, George Bound, English, Milt Flocken. He was the first instructor teacher that we had, as I believe, for our public speaking. And lastly, somebody I did not have, who is here with us today, is Mr. Taylor. Go back to my days at the Academy. I did not have him, but many of you all that had him said he was the finest teacher they have ever had in high school, college, or wherever. These teachers, and John, you had said this earlier, these teachers set the stage for what Academy has today. And what Academy has today, I think, is second to none as far as schools are concerned. It starts with the teachers, and believe me, we have a wonderful, wonderful staff at the Academy. As I wrap up my remarks, there are a couple of things that I have learned that I'd like to share with you. And I'm reminded sometimes that people say, oh Lord, here he's going to talk about way back when, and I'm not going to ramble. But I think they're pretty important because there's some things that I have learned that have done well for me over the years. And I think I'm not the only one that does this, but many people I think will feel the same way. The first thing I've learned is to learn and accept and learn from young people. The seniors in the class, in the room today, the most recent graduates, the younger folks, you all do so much for this world, and you are so dynamic. I try to listen and emulate and do what I can. I can't be like you, but I will learn from you. There are certain folks in this world that sometimes I think I have been critical of. And maybe this was in high school, somebody I didn't particularly understand. But what I have learned since that time is that everybody has a unique, positive quality. And I think that I have learned, hopefully, to learn from them what they know that I don't know. So I am always open to people's individual characteristics and their uniqueness. I learned responsibility. At the Columbus Academy, when I was there, if you had an assignment, you had to do it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you go into the business world, same rules apply. Certain principles you have to do. That all started with the academy, having an assignment, and doing it to the very best of my ability. I learned about teamwork. Teamwork on our relay team. When we won the states, the first championship for Columbus Academy, that was in 1957. We had to have the right timing to get off the blocks, and the people that we beat went on to be, they swam with David Kondracki up at Ohio State. David was on the very last OSU NCAA championship team in 1962, David. Some of those guys we swam against were on his team. Our teamwork pulled us through. It was really, really pretty cool. I've learned the value of exercise. I still try to exercise 3 to 4 days a week. I work out very hard when I do it. I time everything. I was talking to Nancy, I said, why do you time everything? Because I'm the only one that I'm competing with. If I can beat my time from yesterday, I think that's okay, and it helps me. I've learned that I have a sense of humor. Sometimes it's pretty weird, it's pretty ditzy. But I think it's something that has served me well, and I think everybody, I love to see people laugh at themselves. I laugh at myself, unfortunately, many times. I do some of the craziest things, as my boys will tell you, and they just kind of shake their head, well, Dad's at it again. But a sense of humor, I think, is really, really, really wonderful. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I've learned to cry. I think that crying is very therapeutic. Sometimes I will see something emotionally on TV, and I find out, here I go. I'm going to get a good cry in today. But I always feel better after that cry. I have learned that there's a greater power in the universe. I don't understand what's going on out there, but something is going on that helps me in my daily life, and to me, it's called faith. Lastly, I started this conversation by saying that I was uncomfortable accepting this award. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with this award, but I also know that this award is not about me. I've been able to implement what I have learned from so many of you, and I hopefully can continue to do that and continue to learn and emulate good friends and dear people from the Columbus Academy and friends. Thank you very much.